Hi guys, this is so crazy. I am so excited to be back with you all. You have literally no idea. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys don't know me, my name is Mackenzie Davis. I'm a realtor, a content creator, grad student. Hope you'll stick around for whichever part of that interests you. I am going to be doing a Q&A today. I feel like I'm constantly answering questions about becoming a realtor, what it's like being a realtor, etc. You guys know I'm a resource for you. I'm happy to answer these questions 1,000 times if I have to. I'm always happy to have like an outlet like this to talk to you a little bit more long form. Without further ado, I'm gonna have the questions on my phone right here. I asked you guys over on Instagram to ask me whatever questions that you had about real estate or really anything at all. I'm just gonna start right from the beginning. What tips do you have when it comes to communication? I liked this question a lot because I feel like there is this weird like unspoken communication in real estate that you're not just born with, and you do kind of have to learn over time. Yeah, I've kind of adapted this whenever, wherever communication mindset. I find that it works best for me and my client. So in my email signature, I'll put a little screenshot here if I can. It actually says like, my working hours may not be your working hours, so feel free to, you know, respond whenever you can, essentially, because I am a night owl. I'm awake at 1, 2, 3 in the morning sometimes. Sometimes I'm out at the bar. Sometimes I sleep in till 12:30. I'm 22. What am I gonna say? You know, I have a life outside of real estate. If my clients want to text me at 1 in the morning and I'm awake at 1 in the morning, I'll respond to them at 1 in the morning. That goes the same for other real estate professionals. I don't think it should be like taboo to like text before 8 in the morning. I get up at 5 sometimes to go to Orange Theory, so I might text you at 5 and to me that's fine. That is kind of like my method for communication, and I think that it works for a lot of people too. Finding your own groove and what works. The only other tips I would have for communication is just to make sure you're on top of it. Make sure you're keeping track of all of your clients, keeping track of the last time you reached out to them and their needs, because maybe they want you to follow up every day and maybe they want you to check in once a month, but that's kind of what you guys need to determine for yourselves, and then you'll kind of work with that as it goes on. Question number 2 is, how did I take notes during my real estate class? So I started taking notes on every single chapter, and I realized maybe like 10 minutes in that this was just not gonna work. It was gonna take me forever, and mostly like I just wasn't retaining anything because I was so busy writing it all down that I wasn't even focusing on the content. So what I decided to do instead was just read each chapter, and there was a lot of information that I felt was kind of common sense, and I was like, okay, yeah, I knew that before, and like I don't need to write that down to remember it. But there was also a lot that I had never heard before or that I found really confusing, and so I would ultimately just take the quizzes and exams that were in the course, and then I would make flashcards out of the questions that I thought were really challenging, or maybe that I thought I got wrong. And then at the end of my course, I had like 1,000 flashcards that I could use to study. I thought this worked really well because instead of then having to take all of these notes that took me 10 years, I was able to just take the flashcards that I had already made and use those to study. I get DMs all the time saying it's just too much information, and I'm like, I completely understand. It's too much to take notes. So next question is tips on how to make a bio or a cover page for a person that just got their license. Thank you. Assuming that you mean a cover page like to submit with a resume, and I actually never did this. My brokerage might be really chill or something, but I actually just emailed them and told them I wanted to affiliate, and that was like the end of my application process. But if you are looking to do this, I actually just used ChatGPT, which is like that new AI thing, to create a biography for my YouTube channel. Never ended up using it, but it was a really good biography. So if you're looking for something to like spark your creativity, definitely check out ChatGPT. I found it like really useful, so just something to consider. I wait until I graduate from college to get licensed. I also work 30 hours a week. I think this is a really personal decision. Hard to say because I don't know you and your capabilities and like your lifestyle and all of those things, but for me personally, I preferred doing it when I was not in active classes. I think at the time I was taking 2 summer courses, but I was living at home. I was also working a full-time job, but like for me, summers were very much laid back compared to my school years. So I did it in my summer off. I think it's very possible during the school year. It just depends, you know, like, is that gonna overwhelm you? Are you gonna have time to dedicate to it? Are you gonna put your best foot forward? Like, those things are really kind of dependent on how you work as a person. So I don't think it's a bad idea to wait. I don't think it's a bad idea to do it while you're in school. I know graduation's only a month or two away, so you might want to just wait, but it's up to you. What's the most rewarding part about your job? There are a lot of rewarding parts about real estate because it's such a long process trying to find someone a house. It is so moving when you get to the closing table. Like, I had buyers close last week and they cried and I cried because they were crying, and it was just so many offers and so much negotiation and a lot of stress, and just like so much goes into it, that when we finally were able to hand them the keys, it's like so rewarding for everyone and very emotional. That's definitely one of the most rewarding parts. I think also like the giant paychecks that come with the job are very rewarding, and people say that we get paid too much, but like, you do one real estate deal and then tell me you feel like that was too much, because it's a lot to deal with and a lot to handle for one person. I personally think that it adds up, but that's just me and my opinion. Advice to new realtors. Oh gosh, this is such a loaded question. I can't answer this in like a straightforward way. I think ultimately like your mindset is really important. Having a good mentor is huge. You know, taking advantage of any new member education classes or like real estate things that your brokerage offers, like try to do that. Try to meet people. Like anything you can do to get yourself out there and build up your brand as a realtor, I think is really important. And that's like the general like gist of the advice I would give a new realtor, but like I said, there's so much I could say. What's your favorite part of your job? I think I kind of answered this in like the most rewarding part. I had to answer it in a different way. Like, part of the job that I love is the education that I now have as a person and the abilities that I have because I'm a realtor. Being able to represent myself on any purchase that I make in the future is a really, really cool thing. And being able to earn money off of any purchase I make is also a really cool thing. Also, just being 22 and understanding how to buy a house, I think is a privilege that not a lot of people have. I think that's really fun. And just overall, it just gives me like this community of like people and individuals to connect with, especially through social media. So I don't know, that's definitely like some of the stuff that I love about it. How did you get over your imposter syndrome? I'm also in college and young, recently licensed in Ohio, but feel as though I'm young and inexperienced. I'm not confident in my role as a realtor. Imposter syndrome is so real and so hard to deal with, but if I can give you one piece of advice, just please know that you're not the only one that feels this way, and that everyone goes through this when they become a realtor, because you take this class that is so different from what you're actually doing in the business. And then you get your license and you affiliate with a brokerage who doesn't tell you how to do anything. And you're sitting here like, well, shit, what am I supposed to do right now? Like, that's why I preach getting a mentor so hard, because it's like, oh my gosh, like how am I supposed to do this by myself? Please don't feel alone in that, and know that everyone does go through that. And like I just said, you know, like go to classes, get a mentor, like educate yourself. It's important to like know what you're doing, and just, it's so hard to even say because I know how you're feeling, but just put yourself out there and I promise you'll see results. Tips for young realtors. I like this question too, because you guys know I got my license when I was 19, and I would still consider myself a young realtor because I'm 22. I think that a lot goes with confidence, and that's something I'm always saying, like, fake it till you make it. Like, even if you don't feel confident in that moment, just like pretend like you are and consult with your mentor and your resources. Don't let what people say knock you down, because people are always gonna say something until you're successful, and then they'll shut up, but then you're like, well, yeah, so you should have listened to me from the beginning. Nobody wants to see you succeed, and then once you succeed, they want to be your best friend, and it's like, okay, we're not doing all that. So you have to be like your own, like, #1 fan, and that's really hard to do. Confidence is really hard, especially when you don't feel confident. You are your own brand as a realtor, and so being a younger person, I think it's important to represent yourself well in the media. I post pretty much anything I want to, but I do have separate accounts. So like I have my Mackenzie__Davis account, which is like I've had since I was in 5th grade, and I post literally anything that I want to over there. But then I have my Mackenzie Davis Realtor account, which is like my business stuff. They don't really intersect that much, and I do that on purpose because I want my brand to be representative of like my brand, and I want people to know that like that's separate. That's just the way I've always looked at it. I mean, some people could probably argue the other way. It's just like the way that I've always conceptualized it, I guess. Talked about this before, but how do you cope with social anxiety and being a realtor? You guys might have seen one of my latest TikToks, but I was actually recently diagnosed with OCD, which, if you're not in the mental health space like I am, stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. I thought I had social anxiety for a really long time because I tend to ruminate and like go over everything I said to somebody, everything I did, how it made people feel, if I offended them. And the piece I was missing is that like I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I'm never scared to have the interaction in itself. I'm just always worried about the after and what I'm gonna think and how I'm gonna feel, or how about like I made other people feel. It's really complicated. My therapist could tell you more, but I have pure O, which is like purely obsessional. I'm constantly seeking reassurance. That's one of my compulsions. So very complicated, and I could make a whole video talking about pure O. Guess I don't have social anxiety, so it's like I can't answer that part of the question, but I do know what it feels like to have anxiety and obsess over the way that you're making your clients feel. For me, I think taking the time to have a really balanced work life is crucial, like very crucial. Just prioritizing things that I love, and like if I'm having a stressful moment with work, like take the time for yourself and you'll find that you feel better and you'll come back stronger. Another piece of that is like always being and feeling prepared helps me so much. So if I am going to a showing with a client that I've never met, like I will print out each showing docket and I will highlight information that I think is important, and I'll write little notes for myself, and I'll make sure they have their own folder with information so that they maybe ask me less questions, or so that they feel more confident in my abilities as a realtor. Like do things that you can to prepare yourself and your clients so that in the moment you're not as stressed about the situation that you have in front of you. Are you gonna start your podcast back up? I miss it. First of all, when I saw this comment, I started like internally crying because I miss it too. I miss it so much. I stopped podcasting when I graduated from college because I just got like so busy. I was traveling and graduating, and I had my grad party, and then I was getting ready for grad school. So it was just a lot. And then I got really comfortable with like not recording. But I'm very, very excited to tell you guys that I will be starting podcasting again. First episode of this new chapter coming Monday. I did make a new Instagram account for my podcast. If you're interested in following that, I have it linked below. I can't wait to talk to you guys more. I can't wait for this new life of the pod. It's called Rent Free, if you guys were interested. What do you look for in a brokerage? I do have a video going way more into detail on this if you're interested, because it is a big decision. Although I didn't recognize the weight of it when I picked my brokerage, I got really lucky in that I love where I'm at. But you need to be your own biggest advocate, because there's a lot of predatory brokerages out there that like they know you want a brokerage and that you're scared, and so they will ask for a lot of fees or give you this really crazy commission split, which is just not fair. So go into it knowing what you want and make sure that whatever brokerages that you're interviewing align with that. I always say, remember, you are interviewing them. They are not interviewing you. They're gonna take you regardless, unless it's some like luxury brokerage or like high profile team or something like that. So definitely make sure you know what you want. Things to consider are your brokerage split. I would never give more than 25% of my commission unless I was getting like qualified buyer leads like out the door. What fees do they charge? Do they pay for any fees for you? There's a lot of like associations you have to be a part of, and are they covering any of that for you? Marketing, like do they market your stuff? Are you marketing it all? Do they give you clients? Do they offer lead generation services? Do they offer mentorship, new member education? Like, these things are so important, and everybody has their own preferences. So it's like, what part of what I'm saying is like important to you? Take that and run with it. What's the biggest thing you wish you knew before getting into real estate? If you asked me this question a year ago, I would have had a different response. And that's because I was still in this new realtor phase where I was constantly getting really stressed about stuff. Being a new realtor, you do feel like this crazy pressure, and I would love everybody to know that, because I know it's not just me. And it's a scary business to be in. You're handling people's money and you're making the biggest purchase of their life with them. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna feel a lot of pressure, but also take that with like a grain of salt, and remember that like time is of the essence, but like if you can't get a document signed for a day, it's not the end of the world. And those are like the things I would freak out about. Something I would wish I knew like now is just how the market changes, and to be prepared for inconsistencies, because the market is always changing. I got in a really hot seller's market, and I am now in like this slower market, which is fine. I mean, like I said, I'm a student, so I'm not doing this 24/7 anyway, but it's different, and I'm making probably less money now than I was then. So just don't expect it to always be as good as it is, or on the other end, like it's not always going to be as bad as it is if you're not having a great time at that moment. Do you mentor a new upcoming agent around the same age as you? No, I wouldn't, and it's not because I don't want to, because I would love to mentor people, but I don't mentor because I don't have the time to like allocate, and it's just not what you would deserve as a new agent. I'm in grad school most of the week, and I can't give you the time, you know, that you deserve. But that being said, I am looking into making a Discord server. I've kind of started it. A place to do like monthly Zoom calls and a lot of other like connectivity things that would be kind of like a form of mentorship. But that's probably the closest I'll get for a really long time. Do you see yourself being in real estate in the next 5 to 10 years? Yes and no. I will always be in real estate. I'll always keep my license active, but in 5 to 10 years, I hope to just own real estate and get my income passively. House hacking is like next up for me, and I don't really intend to sell real estate forever. I would love to just like earn a passive income, and that's kind of what I would hope would happen by that 10-year point. Okay, last question I'm going to answer. I did not get to all of the questions, but I can't speak anymore after this, so I need to take a break. What do I do to get leads? This answer is ever changing, but as of right now, social media is like a huge thing for me. I've worked really hard over the past few years to grow my TikTok account and my YouTube channel and my Instagrams, and people know that I'm a realtor, especially in my area, because of those medias, and I've helped a lot of people that way. But if you're looking for other outlets and you don't want to do social media, I've always been a huge proponent for lead generation services. I just closed a deal with OpCity. I love them so much, and you guys are probably sick of hearing me say it, but I really do. Like, they have done me really well for the past 2.5 years. That's it. I mean, I don't market in any other way, really. I don't pay for marketing. I don't put up signs. I don't cold call. I don't do anything like that. Maybe I should, but I don't, and that's just what works for me. All right, you guys, that is gonna be it for this video, this question and answer video. I hope that I answered your most burning questions, and as always, like, I can do a part 2, or I can comment back to you. You can DM me on Instagram. Instagram is the only place that I'm able to answer DMs, so if you want a direct connection to me, please do it there. I'm so excited to see you guys again through long form content. I hope this video is not the last for the next few months, but I'm not promising to post on any consistent schedule. Although, as you've heard me say, I will be posting every Monday on my podcast. So definitely take a look there and follow so you don't miss any of the episodes. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.